Breaking news here on CBS Sports HQ. In the NFL, DeAndre Hopkins has been released by the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals had been trying to trade the veteran wideout, but apparently found no takers. Hopkins finished last season with 64 receptions for 717 yards and 3 touchdowns after missing the first 6 games of the year due to a PED suspension. Let's now bring our lead NFL insider, Jonathan Jones, in for more on this. JJ, they were trying to trade him, but obviously the asking price and or interest was just not there. Are you surprised that it went this way and the Cardinals just cut ties?
Certainly not surprised that DeAndre Hopkins is not going to be playing for the Arizona Cardinals in 2023. That much we all knew and understood. Pretty surprised the Arizona Cardinals couldn't get anything for DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, we're talking about a guy who not that long ago was a top 3, top 2 wide receiver in the NFL. If you want to say that his play has fallen off from its peak a few years ago, sure. Okay, I'll give you that. But yeah, maybe the $19 million in salary, even though it was non-guaranteed, was a little cost prohibitive. But frankly, the Arizona Cardinals, I believe, if there was any sort of offer out there, they should have taken it rather than just cutting him outright. So I know that there's a very terse and direct official release statement from the Arizona Cardinals out there. So no, thanks DeAndre and all that stuff. I think we kind of see which way this ultimately ended for DeAndre out in the desert. Now he, of course, as a free agent, now that it is official, free to sign wherever he chooses. And trust me, there will be plenty of interested teams.
Yeah, let's go there. What happens next for the 30-year-old? I mean, there are teams out there that are looking for wide receivers. I mean, as you mentioned, he had a big cap number, 13% of the cap. He was the biggest player in terms of the, cap acquisition space that he had with the Cardinals. So what about his services now? What teams would be interested in maybe bringing him in?
I think just about any team would be interested in bringing in DeAndre Hopkins. I would have to imagine that after his years with the Houston Texans and then, of course, with the Arizona Cardinals, that he is looking for a team that can be a playoff contender. And so you can eliminate some of the teams like Tampa Bay Buccaneers, for example, maybe an Indianapolis Colts right now, for example. But really,
all right, so DeAndre Hopkins last season, just having some technical problems with JJ there. Last season, you can see, he only played in 9 games, but 10 targets per game, 7 receptions per game. These are his averages, of course. Receiving yards, 79.7, and 16.9 in terms of fantasy points. We'll talk fantasy later in the program. All right, JJ is back with us. So, JJ, again, the question was, who would be interested in bringing him in? You said pretty much everybody. Are there any particular teams that would be considered front runners at this point for someone like him?
Let's go with the Buffalo Bills, a team that was heavily talked about as a trade partner with the Arizona Cardinals. So you could certainly see them. You could see the Kansas City Chiefs. Really any team that could play in the playoffs should be interested in DeAndre Hopkins. And so really, you could post about 20 teams right now. That's what we're talking about. I don't think there should be any rush for Nuke to make a decision, get in there at OTAs maybe. Look, he can take his time. He can do a free agency tour. He can be wooed by teams. He can have everyone from teams reach out to him on social media and make him feel wanted and appreciated. So I don't see that he's going to be signing with anyone tomorrow. I think this is going to be a free agency tour that we've seen from a number of high-profile players like himself, and then obviously land on whatever team that is and maybe be able to be in there by minicamp.
But as you mentioned, the interest is definitely going to be there. Lead NFL insider Jonathan Jones joining us to discuss the breaking news, the Arizona Cardinals releasing wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins. We have released DeAndre Hopkins. That's what the statement said. JJ alluded to that. It was a little terse, it's short and sweet. For more on this, be sure to check out All Things Covered. Patrick Peterson and Brian McFadden will certainly be talking about DeAndre Hopkins and possible landing points for him. You can download and follow wherever you get your podcasts, or just scan that QR code to listen now.